Welcome to the SEO.co Search Engine Optimization Podcast. Digital marketing essentials and next-level tactics. From off-site and on-site optimization to persuasive selling and everything in between. You'll learn actionable tips on what it takes to outright and outrank your competition.
Welcome back to another episode of the SEO.co podcast. Today we're kicking off a new series, Google Penalties, How to Recover From and Avoid a Google Penalty. Google Penalties are some of the most frightening, yet most poorly understood elements of search engine optimization. With the power to dramatically reduce your site's ranking and visibility in search engines, Google Penalties are a real threat. But at times, the legends surrounding them venture into boogeyman territory. Every webmaster should work to learn more about Google Penalties, both to avoid them from applying to your site and to learn to take appropriate action if and when a penalty ever emerges. But the topic is so overrun with misinformation and fear-mongering, it's hard to get a straight answer on how penalties actually work. That's why we've created this all-in-one guide to Google Penalties, so you can learn how to avoid them, how to assess them, and most importantly, how to recover. Google ranks sites based on both relevance, which is tied to keywords and topical focus, and authority, which is calculated primarily using the quantity and quality of external links pointing to your pages. Though the algorithm used here is complex, the more links you have pointing to a page, and the more trustworthy those links are, the higher that page is going to rank for various relevant queries. If this is your first time hearing this, you might be tempted to figure out how to place as many links as possible on external sites to build up the authority of your top pages and your domain overall. But as experienced optimizers know, Google has safeguards in place to protect against this. These days, Google has algorithms that evaluate how natural a link is and may penalize your website if too many of your links appear suspicious or unnatural. It's possible to attract links completely naturally, relying solely on the quality of your content to entice your readers to cite you as a source, but this method is inconsistent and won't allow you to grow as quickly as you could with a formal link building strategy. So, spamming links isn't an option, but you can intentionally build natural links by including them as a citation in your offsite content. Basically, the process works like this. Create a personal brand which you'll use to author content on your site and establish a reputation. Pitch ideas to external publishers, eventually writing content specifically targeted to that publisher's audience. And include occasional references to content on your domain, working a reasonable link to your on-site content into your off-site content when it's appropriate to do so. If you want your links to appear natural, however, you'll need to make sure your citation is sensible. In general, your citation should meet the following criteria. First, relevant to topic. Your link needs to be at least somewhat relevant to the topic at hand. If you link to an article about vacuum cleaners and a piece about the best pizza toppings, something's going to seem off. Valuable to the reader. Links should also be valuable to your readership. Examples include backing up claims made, providing a link to further explanation of a topic briefly mentioned, or linking to off-site resources a reader might find valuable. Third, non-promotional. Calling out your brand in a promotional way, such as directly encouraging them to buy your products or selling your brand in any way, will probably get you flagged, depending on the circumstances. Most publishers won't tolerate this kind of link building in any way. Next up, being inconspicuous. This is somewhat subjective, but your links shouldn't stick out in any way. Make sure you include multiple links to similar sources throughout the piece so they all blend in with one another. And lastly, semantically sound. Though it used to be advantageous to optimize your anchor text to exact match a target keyword, it's now better and safer to avoid a penalty to ensure that your anchor text link placement work in context with the rest of your content. If you're not used to link building or working with a white hat link building service, that list of criteria may seem intimidating. So instead of relying on these characteristics individually, we define 7 different archetypes of citations you can use to link to your brand in ways that fulfill all these important requirements. In our next episode, we're going to go over the 7 types of citations you'll be building if you want your links to seem natural and count toward your domain and page authority. Each one has advantages and disadvantages and should be used in different contexts. Your best approach is to use each one of these in balance with each other across the entirety of your campaign. Join us next episode as we start going down the list. Thanks again for listening to the SEO.co podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for joining us on the SEO.co podcast. We appreciate your time. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit SEO.co for more resources based on today's topic, as well as access to more podcast episodes to help you improve your site's long-term SEO success.